Well, the Democrats and their buddies over the fake news networks have all come up with their brand new attack on Donald Trump, even though they continue to just absolutely plummet in popularity. They still think that they can lie to all of you, the American people, and get away with it every single time. This starts with all their friends in the mainstream media, the CNN, ABC, NBC, New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post. Every single one of them are in the bag for the DNC. And in this particular case is Kaitlin Collins, who goes and embarrasses herself again when she tries to attack Donald Trump's press secretary, Leavitt, and then she embarrasses herself again. And this is something that I absolutely love when the fake news networks, and they learn nothing. And you can just look at how smug Kaitlin is. And then she gets embarrassed again by Leavitt. And then with absolute just basic facts. But the problem with the left is when they only have to talk to each other and they sit inside these little elitist leftist bubbles and they all hate Donald Trump together, but really they all hate you, the American people, together, then that they don't realize just how unpopular the positions are. If you only talk to, CNN or MSNBC or CNN or ABC or any of the others, and they all hate them, then you just talk, well, obviously everyone I talk to hates them, right? This is like the same thing happens in Hollywood or New York or California, any of these other bubbles where they push people out, they don't agree, and they don't realize that there's 80 million of you out there who don't agree with what they're saying. And what they try to do is they try to set these traps like Kaitlin's going to do here, where there's absolutely no win for the Trump and his administration. So they'll try to word these questions in a way where either he answers them the way they want, right? And then they attack him because they're failing, or he doesn't, and then they try to attack him for another reason, like he's lying or he's misleading or something, which of course all blatantly false. But that's something they love to do, is these very leading questions. And if they can really get a win, the fake news thinks so, is that they can get Republicans, these fake rhinos, to go along with what they're saying. And this is happening a lot with like Rand Paul right now, who is vehemently against Donald Trump. And make no mistake about Rand Paul and all his excuses about pretending to be a Republican and pretending to be a conservative. This guy is nothing but a rhino, pure and simple. He does all the things that the rhinos do. He talks great in front of a camera and he'll post on X, but when it really comes down to it, all his actions are deep state, America last, Democrat rhino, these shiny shoe Republicans that will always put us last. So with fake news, when they get these, they try to then use them because they try to say, well, we're bipartisan, right? Meaning that they have Democrats pretending to be Republicans that are siding with the Democrats. But when do you ever see the Democrats being bipartisan on the Republican side? I see how it's always a one-way street with them. So they try to bully all these weak, pathetic rhinos to go along with the Democrats. And then when they do, either because they get bullied or because they actually are Democrats themselves, all of a sudden this is a bipartisan issue. Bipartisan meaning the BS is more than it is usually. Here is Leavitt, and she goes, that this president, let's see, where is that? This president has vocally called both of them out, and that is correct. And they use the CBOs we're going to get to after we play this video, where we get into how all the deep state and their so-called experts work with the mainstream media and then the Democrats to try to manipulate public opinion. Before we go into that, let's play this clip here with Leavitt destroying Kaitlin Collins.
Beautiful bill. You said recently that it is, quote, blatantly wrong to say that it adds to the deficit. But Republicans like Ron Johnson and Rand Paul disagree. Is the White House's position that those two Republican senators are, quote, blatantly wrong?
You see how Kaitlin words this question, right? It's the White House that's obviously out of place here, right? Because all the Democrats are saying one thing, and then all the fake news is going with the Democrats saying all this one thing, and then even the Republicans, right? So this is all bipartisan that are saying this, and then it's the White House who's not going along with what they want you to say. So it's not fake news, right? It's not the deep state. It's not these fake rhino problems that they're trying to get you to ignore. No. It's the White House. It's Trump's the problem. So Trump should not be a problem. He needs to do what the Democrats want That's what Kaitlin Collins is trying to bully here. And then she's trying to call out, that it's the White House's fault for calling out Ron Johnson and Rand Paul for being blatantly wrong when they absolutely are. And Karoline Leavitt just mic drops on her right now and absolutely hammers her just like she should.
It is. Those senators, it's not news that they disagree with this president on policy, and the president has vocally called them out for it and for their not having their facts together. I would add the Congressional Budget Office has been historically wrong. In fact, they predicted the Trump tax cuts from the president's first term in 2017. Their prediction was wrong by $500 billion. There hasn't been a single staffer in the entire Congressional Budget Office that has contributed to a Republican since the year 2000. But guess what? There have been many staffers within the Congressional Budget Office who have contributed to Democrat candidates and politicians every single cycle since.
Folks, I cannot tell you just how right she is here. As for some reason, Kaitlin Collins continues to go to the White House and ask all her loaded fake news questions and then get destroyed live on camera, just like she did. And I'm in one of the opinions. I really think that Donald Trump, one of the reasons he leaves in the White House press briefings and puts her up front is they love making her look like an idiot. I truly think that Donald Trump and Karoline just absolutely enjoy it. And as we continue to expose fake news, and then as their ratings continue to tank. That you saw on MSNBC, for example, when they brought in Jen Psaki, right, the Biden press secretary that ran when things got tough. And then they go in now, she drops down over 41%. It's because people are finally realizing just how fake news is. It's not that they're just like selecting specific stories to tell you or that they're blatantly lying to you, because those are the easier ones to get away with. But what they really do, that's far, far worse than that. It wasn't until creators like here on the Cash Loren show where I can be your guiding light of truth through the sea of the Democrats' lies and hoaxes. If you're enjoying that, make sure you take a moment and you hit the follow button while you're here and help us spread an American First message. But you have people like Kaitlin Collins and all their fake news buddies. See how they go and they do these loaded questions, and then they use their experts in the deep state to try to help give a false sense of reality to that. Just like with the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, where they have been blatantly wrong over and over again, yet they expect you to just trust the experts. But these experts are not actually experts. They're actually just Democrat activists. And again, Karoline correctly points out, none of them are voting to Republicans, right? None of them are giving money to our side of the fence. They're all giving their money over to the left. And if you see that and you think, well, wait a minute, they're only giving their money to the left, are they being honest and fair with their projections? And they're absolutely not. And we're going to explain here in this next clip here, as they're going to start to go through the CBO and how they are blatantly lying to you and what information they're using to do that. Here in clip 2.
Doesn't increase the deficit or hurt the debt. In fact, it lowers it by $1.4 trillion. What some of the watchdogs have done is they have used CBO's artificial baseline, which doesn't allow and assume that current tax law will be extended because of sunsets that are in the law. This is a $1.4 trillion over 10 years deficit reduction. It's $1.6 trillion in mandatory savings. Obviously, we have a little bit of spending in there as well for border and defense. But that is the biggest mandatory savings package that we have seen since the 1970s, 1997. It's very historic.
100% right. This is stuff that's never, ever done. And there are some issues, of course, with the big bill, as Elon and Rand Paul, we're going to get into it here in just a second, but they are doing something with Trump that the deep state never thought could ever happen. Because they thought that they locked us down in permanently growing the federal government, pushing all the manufacturing jobs overseas, and then taxing you into poverty and growing these useless regulations to where you cannot do anything without Mother May I please from the federal government. Because understand that the Democrats and their buddies, the Rinos and the Uniparty, that's exactly what they want. Okay, they don't want to serve you. They don't want to have to even explain themselves to you. because they think that they are the elites. They think that they're your betters. They think that they rule over you, and that it's your job to trust them, trust the experts. It doesn't matter what they say or what they do, right? They're in the Washington, D.C. swamp. They have Ivy League degrees, right? They're into with all the movers and all the shakers, and it's not them when they're wrong. It's you, right? You should have just known better. You should just pay your taxes. You should just shut up and give them what they want. I mean, that's the way they look at you. They look at you like you are beneath them. And that's why people like Trump and why people like Elon Musk are coming back now and fighting for our country. The people that they never wanted to actually get back in power are people like Donald Trump, who are billionaire populists. Right now, Donald Trump isn't a Republican, and neither is Elon Musk. And neither one of them is really conservative. What they really are is populists. Right? They want America as a nation to succeed. Right? Elon Musk has stated over and over again that he wants us to be multiplanetary. And he sees this growing debt as a huge, huge problem for our country. See if I can find a statistic right here to go real quick and then bring this up. And sorry, my papers are out of stack here. See if I got it in the right spot. Okay, I'm not sure where that statistic is, but we'll go with this one here. So this is showing on the recession chances. And often we'll talk about fake polls. We'll say that, that always ignore fake polls or take them with a grain of salt because they're small sampling sizes to very specific people to get to a position that they want you to come to, right? So these fake polls, they don't exist to educate you. These fake polls, they exist to manipulate you. But one of the ways that we can help get past that now is when we have betting on government, such as here on Polymarket, where their odds of the recession have dropped, where they're almost to 70%, are now all the way down to under 30%. That is a huge, huge swing for our country. For very good reason, as you go through, and it looks like they will get this bill through at some point, as much as the Rinos are trying to fight against it. And I understand why Elon Musk is so frustrated. But you want to see the swamp, you want to see the beast from the DC abyss, this is it. Right? You want to see the blob, you want to see the deep state, you want to see how a shadow government actually works. You are now seeing it more than you've ever seen before, because there's actually somebody in power who's fighting back and showing you everything that they're doing wrong. This has caused a huge upheaval and roar in Washington, D.C. They don't really know how to handle this. It's really enjoyable to watch day in and day out, especially through like all the little hoaxes they do. Like now they're trying to push this taco hoax. And most people don't even know what they're talking about, but it's just so funny how desperate they are to try to push this garbage on you, the American people, when you're saying that finally, enough is enough. We want our country back, and we're going to fight to save it. We're going to fight to get it back right now. It's part of this is sad as we go back to the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, because we do need experts, and we do want to trust experts. Right? People, they spend years learning a certain field, and they become, very knowledgeable in that field. And so you want to be able to lean on those expertise. But when they decide to stop becoming experts and instead of use their experts to then become activists, then all of a sudden they've ruined the institution and you can no longer trust them. The CBO in this example, right, has manipulated their information. And they're all leftist activist hacks. And they were wrong. They were really wrong before in Trump's first administration. And did they learn anything? No. Are people getting fired? Not really. It's the same people that are still pushing the same lies. And this is how the deep state works, right? You start with the experts, and the experts say something. In many cases, like this one's completely made up. And then goes out to fake news. It's what fake news wants to hear. And so they go, and every single person on fake news lies about them. The experts say, sources say. It goes then back to the deep state. And the deep state says, well, they must be talking about all this. So we need to go and we need to investigate this further. And then it goes out to the politicians. The politicians then say, well, fake news is reporting on this. And the experts are saying, so we need to open up investigations. We need to talk about this. We need to find out what's going on. And then it goes all the way back to the deep state all again. When it was the deep state that made it up in the very first place. Fake news knows about it. The Congress knows about it. House knows about it. They all know and they don't care. This is how they lie and they manipulate to you, the American people. When they're trying to stop real things from happening that will actually help you, such as tariffs to bring manufacturing back to this country, and it's working. And they don't ever want to talk about that. People like Ron Paul was wrong about his tariffs. And then what does he go on? He goes on to his next hoax, like he's somehow magically right this time. And Elon Musk is frustrated. We're going to get into that, but I'm realizing that we're to a break. So I'll be right back. In just a moment, we're going to talk about Elon Musk and his comments that went ultra viral. And is he really going against Donald Trump or not? And then we're going to talk about Ron Paul and the Democrats and how they all continue to abuse these comments. We'll be right back after this greedy profit break. You're not going to miss it. This is the Cash Loren Show. Well, the deep state's war with you, the American people, is continuing to get more and more as they get more and more rough and tough and trying to fight the very dark, deep battles here in our political system. And we talked in the first segment about Kaitlin Collins, how the mainstream media, how they use and manipulate information and facts with the help from the deep state to try to manipulate your opinion in the public and hide the truth from you, the American voters. But now we have independent content creators like here on the Cash Loren Show, where we will expose them every single day, their lies and their hoaxes, and make the Democrats cry tears that are saltier than McDonald's fries. You enjoy that, make sure to take a moment and hit the follow button, as now we're going to start talking a lot more about Elon Musk and his statements today with Donald Trump. Now, Elon Musk has been considered basically his entire life since he's been here, he considers himself like middle left. And since he's been doing a part of that, now that the left that he realized many have has pushed so far to the left that he found himself abandoned on the right. And much like Musk and Trump have a lot in common, is that they're both billionaire populists. Right? They're not really Democrats, they're not Republicans, they're not even conservatives. This is a different breed of human beings where they just want humanity to do better. Right, this is the man that builds electric cars. Right, this is the man that shoots rockets up to space. Elon Musk is the one who wants to make the human species multiplanetary. And yet the Democrats hate him for no other reason than because he's trying to help Donald Trump make America great again. And it gets in the way of them gaining more and more power to rule over you. Now, part of this is awesome when they're fighting back is one of the things they could do with our side that's harder, because on our side of the fence, the so-called conservatives or Republicans, they're often really just Democrats. And you'll hear them call all kinds of different names. A lot of times we will call them like Rinos, Republican in name only, or they'll be like the shiny shoe Republicans or the fancy suits. They're going from the cameras. They'll say all the right things. They'll go online and they'll post the right stuff. But when it comes actually down to it, there really are Democrats. And this is why they would stab us back over in the back year after year after year. This was the whole neocons grip on the Republican Party that now we're seeing it finally end after 30 years. There's only a few remaining holdovers left. And, Elon Musk has promised to primary all of them as we start to go through this, because they're misleading what Elon Musk said today. So first, let's start with Mike Johnson and his comments, and then we'll get into what Elon said today.
Let me say this. It's very disappointing, okay? I've come to consider Elon a good friend. He's obviously a very intelligent person, and he's done a lot of great work. With all due respect, my friend Elon is terribly wrong about the one big beautiful bill.
So this is Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, and he is trying to backstab Trump's administration all over again, as the House has the power of the purse. So Elon Musk, he posted a statement that went mega viral because he was talking about the abomination of the big beautiful bill. As he said, that's way too much pork in it. And in some parts, he is right, as we want to reduce the government as much as possible. But what's part of what's being exposed is just how far that uniparty is willing to go to try to stab Donald Trump and Doge in the back. as they found over $500 billion of waste, and Elon Musk thinks that they can get to $2 trillion in the first year on Doge alone. But these rhinos and these uniparties, we think that we have the House, or only try to do none of it, and then only came back with 5.9 billion. This is a real fight that we're fighting right now. This is the real deep state, where they don't see anything wrong with spending us into oblivion. And there are many on that side that think that we can just spend until eternity, and then they get themselves rich. They do think that they can just endlessly print money. And so Elon Musk, his statements get misconstrued as the Democrats and the Uniparty, they despise Donald Trump. And maybe the only person in the world that they despise as much or just a little bit less is Elon Musk and his Doge, for exposing their corruption, exposing their fraud, and exposing the waste. As you're starting to see now how members of Congress, how they make tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars and all of a sudden become worth millions. Well, how does that happen? You see, you're never supposed to know. Or how the corruption works, where they'll have like things like USAID that takes in all this money, and then they divide it out to all these NGOs meaning non-government organizations, but there's nothing non-government about these organizations. And so then they hire in all these career useless people, usually family members of these congressmen or people that are inside the Beltway, or all these, connected people from lobbyists, whatever the case may be, and then almost exclusively push liberal, leftist, elitist positions, not only here in the United States, but all throughout the world. This is what you're never supposed to know. You're never supposed to know how the Congress takes in $5 trillion a year, yet puts out over $7 trillion. Our debt has absolutely skyrocketed. I was looking through the notes. I don't have the numbers. I don't know where they are. So in the next break, I'm going to try to find them for you and show you how much debt has been added year by year. It will absolutely blow your mind. So this is what Elon Musk is upset about. For Elon Musk, this is not a Democrat problem, and this is not a Republican problem. This is a humanitarian problem, as we have the greatest country in the world, and I think Elon Musk is right. We can't keep spending like drunken sailors and expect the United States to survive. It's just not going to happen. So this is not Elon Musk going against Donald Trump, like the left is trying to push here. Just like the lie about Elon Musk leaving Donald Trump's administration, which again is not true. He was on for 130 days. Okay, and they all know it, but they're all lying about it because they wanted to destroy Elon Musk and Donald Trump right from the start. We spoke briefly earlier about how Jen Psaki, her ratings are tanking. And do you remember what she was the first that I heard that tried to run with this hoax? But none of these people, they have a mind of their own. Whoever's behind the curtain tells them all what to think. And so she started out saying how, there is this divide between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, completely and utterly made up. And of course, what do? They go to their normal thing. It's either experts say or sources say. For Jen Psaki and the rest of the Democrats, it was sources close to the Trump administration. But they're going to protect the sources that never existed, so you don't ever get to know who they are, what they said. But you just got to trust me, bro, that the mainstream media is not lying to you this time like they lied to you every single other time. And of course, Rand Paul, he runs with it, and this is their continued hoax with the deep state is they try to backstab Trump's administration as they're talking about the deficit and added spending. But over the last 30 years, it has been spending, right? They've never stopped. And now they're trying to pretend that all of a sudden they're against it. See, this is where they talk tough in front of a camera, but really you got to read between the lines to see what people like Rand Paul are really against. And I personally think that Elon Musk, I don't think he realizes how fake Rand Paul is being here. He might even believe that Rand Paul is being legitimate in his objection. It's like when Rand Paul, when he lied about what tariffs and what they were going to do to this country. And remember when he said he had the votes to stop Donald Trump's tariffs, which he never did, But even if he did, and when it failed, it never gets past the House, and it never gets past Trump's veto. It was just all more fake virtue signaling for the Rand Paul who thinks way too much of himself. And now he's claiming he has the 4 votes, meaning he has 4 Republicans that are going to vote against Donald Trump's big, beautiful bill. Because this is a reconciliation, it means that it doesn't need a full vote from the Senate. So they can bypass the 60 vote threshold. And if this was the Democrats, right, if this is the opposite side of the fence, then if they had 54 votes, how many of those 54 senators do you think the Democrats would have vote? Right? Every single one. Or 53, excuse me. You never, 54, because then they break the tie, which is the important part about this. Right? You have 53, and then you get to 49. Because they get to 50, then J.D. Vance comes in and breaks the tie. Oh, now that Rand Paul's lying about this, and then Elon Musk reposted it. And that's what I really do think that he doesn't, Elon Musk, I don't think he really believes just how deep and fake this deep state is. And really, it can be really hard to talk about and explain to people, because unless you see it, it's really hard to believe. It's like if you see someone who's, if you ever read something that's just completely insane or crazy, for a better lack of explanation, and then it's really hard to believe, like, no, they can't be. No one would ever should say or do that until you see them do it firsthand. Then you go, whoa. And this is the same way this deep state works. Someone called the blobber, I call the beast from the DC abyss, is that these uniparty rhinos, they want to be second fiddle. They want the Democrats to be in charge. And then all the politicians, what they want is they want the deep state, these unelected officials, to just do all the work and do all the rules. And then they do nothing, but they go to Congress for, however much percent of the time they do, and they go on another vacation. And then they talk in front of cameras and they shake hands, and then they sign a bill and they go off and do whatever party they're going to go do. And then they let the deep state manage anything, and anything ever gets pushed back on them, they go, whoa, don't talk to me. I didn't do that. Go talk to the IRS, or go talk to the FDA. Go talk to Department of Labor and Industry. Go talk to OSHA. Go talk to any of the other 3-letter alphabet suits. It's them that are making these rules, not me. Because really, these guys are gutless, feckless cowards. I hope I'm not being unclear. Now that Donald Trump is won, and now that SCOTUS has gotten rid of Chevron indifference, meaning that Congress actually needs to get off their butts and write laws again, that they all hate Donald Trump. This is not just the Democrats who openly hate him. People like Rand Paul and the rest of the rhinos, the neocons, they all hate Donald Trump too. Do not doubt me for a single second on this. Every single one of them don't want Donald Trump in office. They don't want to fight. They want to lose. They're cowards. They really are gutless, feckless cowards. I was that close to swearing on a G-rated show. I'm not going to do it. I'm very proud of myself right there. That's the closest I've been in a long time, and I caught myself. So pat on the back. But I can't stand these people, because everything that we fought for and everything we worked to win, step by step, and now they're trying to take away from us. 80 million of you, close to 80 million, fought for Donald Trump to come back. Fought for him to drain the swamp, fought for tariffs, fought for mass deportations, fought to put America first again, to make America great again. And we're supposed to be a constitutional republic, meaning that you vote for your leaders then go to the government in their elected positions, and then they carry out what you voted for. But these elected leaders, they don't see it that way at all. They see themselves as the elite. They see themselves as it's their right to rule over you. And for them, they hate that there has to be elections. They don't think that they should even have to run for office. I mean, they're smarter than you. They're better than you. They're wiser than you. And if you knew what they knew, you would never go against what they're doing. But they see you as the problem, because you would make the mistake of voting them out for out of office. And there's nothing that scares these people more than losing their access to making themselves rich and their families rich, to no longer be a senator and to no longer be a House representative, and just basically have the biggest gravy train that there is in the United States. I mean, how many days a year does the Congress actually work? I mean, how many of you get like 11 days off on Memorial Day and then go on another 2 weeks vacation, right? None of you actually do. Let's see. So, I was reading over a comment. I got a troll over on YouTube over there. Yeah, but facts don't care about your feelings. They really don't. Not one bit. And now that we're exposing the deep state, you have people like Chuck Schumer going that I agree with Donald Trump, or I agree, excuse me, Elon Musk, as Elon Musk went out against, remember, not the big, beautiful bill and the pork in the bill, and them not putting Doge in the center of the cuts. Okay, that's what Elon Musk is against. He's not against the Trump administration. Their hoax of trying to divide Elon and Donald Trump has failed spectacularly, just like their taco hoaxes have failed completely. But Mike Johnson, he is part of what I call the firm. This is the Democrats and the false opposition. So you have on the Senate side, you have Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer. Mitch McConnell's supposed to be opposition, but he's not. And then you have over on the House side, you then have Hakeem Jefferies replacing Nancy Pelosi. Then you have Mike Johnson that's supposed to be on our side. But what did he just do? He went in and he tried to backstab the Trump administration. And then he tried to backstab Doge and to backstab the tax cuts. And put all this pork in and then send it over to the Senate, just like they always do. And watch what Mike Johnson will do. Okay, if they can't get this crap through, watch what he'll do. This is exactly what he'll do. Is he'll come back, don't doubt for a second, and he'll put some stupid package out that he knows will fail. And then he'll fail, and then he'll say, well, we tried. But you see, we can't get the votes. So if we can't get the votes, then we need to give the Democrats everything they want. And that's why you saw over the last 2 years, that's why you saw Mike Johnson lose over and over and over again. This was not an accidental loss. This was intentional. And people talk about how they're stupid and how they're gutless and how they're coward. And yet, in a way, but more than that, this is an intentional losing from our side. I can't stress this enough. Okay, the Republicans don't want to fight. They don't want to be called racist. They don't want to be called bigots. It's a natural when you go into politicians that they want to be generally liked because that's how they think, how they get votes. There's not many Republican kind out there who want to fight back and win. They don't want the problem. They just want to vote the way they're told to vote and then collect a paycheck, go on fake news, have a couple talking points, and then go and do their parties and shake hands with the movers and shakers and meet lobbyists and help their family get jobs that they could get without their connections. This is all, at the end of the day, what Congress ultimately is just selling you out over and over again to make themselves rich. It's all about selling access. It's the ultimate corruption. Elon Musk's abomination statement, I understand where he's coming from, but they're trying to twist it in a way that he's somehow, now that he's joined them against Trump, which is not true at all. His issue is with the Rinos and with the Uniparty. And now Elon is promising that in November, to help push this point over the finish line, he is saying that he is going to fire every single politician that is backstabbing you, the American people, meaning not putting Doge in place. The potential in 2026 to see a bloodbath of Rinos will make people's jaws drop. I think some that consider themselves to be untouchable or have a chance of losing their job. And really the biggest enemy to us winning more, unlike in 2022, where we had a very bad map. We go up to 2026, we have a very good map for our side of the fence. And the biggest way that we can lose that map is the Rinos on our side of the fence not putting in Donald Trump's policies into play. Okay, they pass his agenda, and then you watch a huge landslide. If they don't, it won't be. And that's what we have to fight for now. Just like we did after November when we fought hard and we stopped that stupid CR from going through that would have hamstringed Trump's administration for almost 2 years. was it 16,000 pages or something of just pork and spinning. This is what we have to do again now. We have to get involved. We have to keep the pressure up. We have to let the Rand Pauls know the year that he doesn't have 4 votes. And if these people continue to backstab Trump, their careers are over. Because they're really not backstabbing Trump. They're backstabbing you, the American people. And with that, we're way over our break. When we come back, we have a lot more to cover, including Hakeem Jefferies as his insane statements. And then we have a lot more in the stack. You're not going to miss any of it, but this will be this greedy profit break. This is the Cash Loren Show. Well, we have so much going on every single day, including that the Democrats, as they have fallen all the way down to 19% on their own polls. And they continue to learn nothing from all these lessons, as they just think that, you know what, they should just double down on what's made them so unpopular. I mean, can you name one issue that the Democrats are on the right side of? They have chosen to be on the wrong side of every single 82-20 issue that there is. The economy was in tremendous turmoil under the Democrats when they had Joe Biden in office, and the inflation went through record levels. You now have tariffs working, and they're on the wrong side of that. And then also on women's rights that they go through, and then they on the women's rights issue, when they try to reduce women to abortion on the dying of their young, and then ignore the fact that they're allowing biological men to enter in women's sports. This is something that our side is on the right side of every single one. And the Democrats, even when their own fake news is even worse for them, but still they learn nothing. So we're going to play a couple clips here from Hakeem Jefferies as the Democrats learn nothing, starting with this first clip.
Project 2025 is a disaster for the American people. It's a reason why the American people are running away from Republicans. But of course, that's one side of the equation. The other side of the equation is, how do we rebuild the America that Donald Trump is trying to break in record time? And that's an effort that we as House Democrats look forward to being a part of as we move forward.
Right. You all lived through the last 4 years of Democrats. How did that work out for you? And he goes on with Project 2025, which is, of course, again, another hoax the Democrats made up, lied about, tried to connect to Donald Trump. That failed spectacularly. And then they still try to run the same hoaxes. I mean, just like running with Russia, or any of the others. No wonder the Democrats are at 19%. Okay, this is the reason why, is they learn nothing. I mean, please keep it up. But he doesn't stop there.
Republicans are aggressively trying to destroy America as we know it and end the American way of life. That's what this Donald Trump effort has been all about, which, by the way, the American people are rejecting.
Close to 80 million of you voted for Donald Trump. Do you regret your vote? Are you now regretting everything that you voted for? This is another completely made up hoax from them, going on a poll that they lied about and made up themselves. It's really funny and ironic how, because they're on their own little box, that they never understand that inside that bubble, that there's a large world outside it, and that they are the minority. They are not the majority. And it took a complete hoax. I mean, it's amazing when you think about everything that the Democrats had. I mean, they basically had the federal government. They had the deep state backing them. They had all the fake news networks all talking Democrat talking points. They had Hollywood. They had virtually every single aspect that you could have, and yet they were still only down to about a 50-50 in the country, even with all those advantages. Now that they don't have those anymore, thanks to independent creators, and now we can expose all the liars and hoaxes every single day, they are doubling down on all the things that made them lose, and as the ratings continue to tank. I mean, a month ago, this was in the 40%, and then it dropped in the 30s, and then it was down to 26, and then down to 22, and now it's down to 19, but really it's probably down to like 1.9%, because they're on the wrong side of every single issue. And really, the only thing that's left for us to do to end the Democrat Party, if Congress really wanted to win, there's only one thing left. All we'd have to do is voter ID. You have a requirement to prove you're a citizen to vote in the United States. There is no more Democrat Party. They would poof like that overnight. But he continues to think that they can just say anything and learn nothing.
Single ICE agent who's engaged in this aggressive overreach and are trying to hide their identities from the American people will be unsuccessful in doing that. This is America.
This is America. Oh, what is he talking about here? Is that they're mad because ICE is deporting illegal immigrants just like you voted for. I mean, Donald Trump very openly ran on this. And we talk about fake news polls. This is how bad it is for the Democrats. Okay, CNN, fake news, runs their own poll, and they find that 100% or 56% of their own people that they questioned, that they voted for 100% deportation of illegal immigrants. Virtually every single one. And let me skip through here real quick as I go and find this article as it's relevant here. Okay, so this is coming up now to where that we have over this weekend, one of these illegal aliens went on domestic terrorists and threw Molotov cocktails at pro-Israel demonstrators, and now he has been locked up and will probably never see the light of day again. But they're not stopping there, as DHS's Kristi Noem explains.
Hi, everyone. I'm Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Today, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE are taking the family of suspected Boulder, Colorado terrorist and illegal alien Mohammed Solomon into ICE custody. Now, Mohammed's despicable actions will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But we're also investigating to what extent his family knew about this horrific attack, if they had any knowledge of it, or if they provided support to it. I am continuing to pray for the victims of this attack and for all of their families. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to all of them, and I want them to know that justice will be served.
You go into more of this as they go in. They're also trying to find out who he worked with. As they found USAID paperwork in his vehicle, and that's certainly suspicious on its own. But now they're starting to find out about his wife and his kids, and they're starting to look into whether they had advanced knowledge or not, and if they were involved or not. And if they will be prosecuted. But it's also coming out now that in this Boulder, Colorado terrorist suspect, that his wife, his family, and his kids, they have all had their visas revoked. And every single one of them might be deported tonight. I say it can't happen fast enough. You know, we can't deport these people quick enough. Joe Biden, his Democrats, let in over 10 million, maybe more, we don't know the exact number, of illegal immigrants in this country, and then refused to deport them. And just like this terror attack never should have happened, Lake and Riley never should have happened. I mean, illegal immigrant crime should be zero, because entering in this country illegally by itself is a crime. And then going in the due process for entering this country illegally is deportation. Not millions of trials by these activist judges. SCOTUS needs to end this judicial coup right now. And so as ICE, as as the law says, are arresting and deporting these illegal immigrants, every last one. And these raids are continuing to amp up. Remember early on when it wasn't going as fast as Trump wanted, and then unlike the Biden administration, these people, if they don't do their jobs, are getting fired. And as they get fired, qualified people are coming up. And now the ICE just did the biggest raid that they've ever done. And they're continuing to do more and more raids. And now these leftist activists are starting to try to dox and attack ICE agents. We even had like mayors went on their website and doxed ICE agents. So now ICE agents are having to cover their face so they try to protect themselves and their families from these left-wing activists, because this is how liberalism, this is how it advances. Is first they do by activism, by marching, by shouting, by trying to bully you into submission. And then that doesn't work. Then what the left does, the left gets violent. They are the party of domestic terrorists. They are the party of political violence. Democrats have nothing. They couldn't care less about political violence as long as it's on their side of the fence. Do not doubt that for a single second. This is now Hakeem Jefferies when he's lying about this whole situation because he's mad because they want to dox these ICE agents because they want to try to use the threats of violence to stop illegal immigrants from being deported just like you voted for. So this is how he continues to lie.
Not the Soviet Union. We're not behind the Iron Curtain. This is not the 1930s. And every single one of them, no matter what it takes, no matter how long it takes, will of course be identified. That in fact is the law. And we're going to make sure that the American people have the transparency necessary to hold people accountable when they're folks who cross the line.
By crossing the line, he means enforcing the law that Democrats don't want enforced, right? Arresting illegal immigrants and deporting them. The Democrat side, they see nothing wrong with this. They see nothing wrong with doxing people and trying to ruin their lives. All to try to force them to submit to the Democrats' rule. You've seen this through people like Maxine Rodgers, who will go out and tell you, to go out and activate, right? And to every time you see a Republican to make their life hell. Because they understand how all this works. And then you have people like Jasmine Crockett, who is begging for people to go after Elon Musk and his companies for her birthday. And that was like the best thing that could happen for her birthday, but they do it in these dog whistle ways. They'll say, I'm not calling for civil unrest. There's the dog whistle. But if you don't give us what I want, there's going to be civil arrest. You see how they try to walk that line when every single person knows what they're doing. Or James Comey magically comes up to 86-47 on the beach. Like anyone believes that for a second. Even a child knows what he means there. And he's like Hakeem Jefferies does there, is he's threatening ICE agents. That you can't hide from us. We will find you and we will dox you. We will threaten your families. We will threaten your lives. Of course, not directly, because these cowards, they always send these other activists to go do their dirty work for them. And then they sit back and watch and see, go, I never called for violence. I never called for anything bad to happen to these people. And then when the bad things do happen, they then pretend to condone it or condemn it. And then on the very next day, right, they're threatening them again. The Democrats know exactly what they're doing with all this. And now, as we continue to show how important that this stopping this illegal immigration of the country, we had a story that broke during break, and this is that the FBI, the Kash Patel, I know I'm looking for my camera as I'm reading into this article here, is that Kash Patel, he has confirmed the arrest of 2 alleged CCP loyalists that are accused of smuggling an agro-terrorism agent into this country. We don't know yet what they were planning to do with this agent or how deadly it was, but this is Patel's comment. The individual is alleged to have smuggled in a dangerous fungus called, I'm not even trying to pronounce that word, which is an agro-terrorism agent, into the U.S. to research at the University of Michigan, where she works. This fungus can cause disease called head blight, a disease of wheat, barley, maize, and rice, causes significant health issues in both humans and livestock. It is responsible for billions of dollars in economic loss every single year. This is who the Democrats are trying to bring into our country. And this is who we have to stop. And the Democrats' answer, let's go after Taco Tuesday. Oh, they're so pathetic. And with that, we're at the top of the hour. The rest of these stories have to go back in the stack. We'll see you again tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. There it is. This is the Cash Loren Show. Greetings, independent thinkers. We have come to a top of another hour. If you're enjoying this content, please make sure you have subscribed, turn on notifications, but most importantly, share an American First message with your friends and family so we can help fight back against the Democrats and their propagandists over at the fake news networks. Also, take a moment to consider subscribing to us on Locals at the Cash Loren Show, where for a very small amount of money every month, you'll get many additional perks, including your name at the end of videos. I could be up the screen here in just a moment. A follow and increase engagement and exclusive lists that I use on X. that sounds interesting to you, go over to locals.com at the Cash Loren Show, hit the subscribe button for about a cup of coffee a month, and help us stay independent and free of the fake news networks and bring you the truth every single day, just like these fine patriots have. At the end of the video, be on your screen here in just a moment.